What film, meeting, person, experience made you want to make films? The answer is actually linked to the film I'm presenting in this festival. The film is called Tero House, and my protagonist in the film, who's a poet, Gaston Rollinger, as he worked for the national television in Luxembourgish language, and they would cover all sorts of things. And at some point, he was making a series about musicians, people who would make up songs, songwriters. And my dad, he was a teacher, but he also wrote songs. So he came to our place to film my dad singing, playing the guitar, but just seeing how a film was actually made, the technology behind it. That was the first time I witnessed that in my life. And it's sparked something off. What do you find most challenging and rewarding about being a filmmaker? The most challenging part, I think, to me, I can only speak from my own experience, is the loneliness throughout the process of creating, of writing, of research. When there's no one around, when there's no one who actually believes in what you do, you're incredibly lonely. It's all in your head and you're alone with it. The most rewarding thing about being a filmmaker, to me, is always meeting the audience. Why do we continue to make films today? Because we need to continue to reflect on our condition as human beings. The essential questions will probably always remain. Why are we here? And why is all this happening? What's your next project? I think it's going to be a short fiction film. Even though I think that my mission is in documentary, it's something I would like to, not just to try out, but I found a subject. It's something I immediately saw in my head, so I thought, oh, maybe that's a sign. You should be working on this. Can you pitch us your film? So this film is about a poet who's lived in the same place all of his life. And he stayed there until his death last year. It's a place that he draws all of his inspiration from, for his poetry as well as for his films, because he was also a cinematographer. And we could stop the pitch there already. What advice would you give to aspiring filmmakers or actors? First of all, don't be shy, don't be scared. If you want to do something, just do it. Don't think so much about whether you're legitimate to do it or not, because most great people also in films have not necessarily been. Today, everything's a bit different because people go through schools and then they are being given a label. You studied for film director, you studied for actor. And the way I feel about it is maybe something that you shouldn't worry about too much. It's more, what have you got to tell? What do you want to tell? What is inside of you? Is it something which you feel is sufficiently strong to actually gather all those people around that you need to make a movie and put this money in? Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Or is it just an ego trip? I think it's a good question to ask. What is your favorite part of the filmmaking process? That's changing, but recently it's been editing, because I've edited this last documentary myself, and I love that. I think it's one of the most, it's maybe the most creative part of telling the story, really. It's there, it's while you're editing that the story comes together, and where you can change so many things, where you can put in subtleties or doubts or whatever. Next to that is all the other post-production. I'm someone who writes my own music also, so I like going into the studio, maybe choosing other musicians to work with. I like also being there when the sound is made, the sound editing. I even like the sound mixing. All of the stages, if you take them seriously, they're incredibly creative and they can add so much more to your film. Goedemorgen, mijn naam is Fränz Hausemer. Ich mache Filme. schaffen und all Sorten von artistischen Projekten. Aber was ich ganz gern mache, das ist all die Sachen zusammenzubringen.